Super weather.
Good Saturday morning. I'm meteorologist Brooke Martell. Hot weekend on tap. We have that heat advisory that's in effect for the coastline, as well as that extreme heat warning for the inland valleys, for the mountain communities. All three of those areas will have those warnings and advisories expire Sunday night, but it'll actually be extended through Monday night for the desert region, and you'll see why in just a moment. Back at the coastline, we have that high surf advisory in effect until 5 o'clock this evening. Generally, those wave heights could be from about 3 to 6 feet, and we still have those strong rip currents. So you just want to make sure you're swimming, surfing near a lifeguard tower. And here's a look at the details. Water temperature still from those low to mid 70s over La Jolla and really up and down our coastline. Wave heights there from 3 to 5 feet. That low tide around 6:30 this morning. High tide peaks back around 1 o'clock this afternoon. The hourly forecast looks great over La Jolla. I mean, we're looking at mostly clear skies, temperatures from the upper 70s heading into your afternoon. Here's a look at the rest of your daytime highs. So we have mid 70s for Oceanside as well as Encinitas. We actually could be reaching those low 80s over Imperial Beach. We're expecting that over the downtown region. Upper 80s to about 100 degrees today for the inland valleys. We'll be closer to 87 for La Mesa, but then we're expecting some mid 90s between Poway, Escondido, and it looks like we could get really close to 100 degrees today for Ramona. Same thing over the mountain communities, 90s to the low 100s, 115 over the desert region for places like Borrego Springs. Here's a look at what it'll feel like heading into the afternoon for Santee. Before we get there, you could see this morning upper 60s, get into those 70s as early as 8 o'clock, and then we're settling into some mid 90s by this afternoon. Later on this evening, by about 8 p.m., we still have some low 80s in the forecast, and then heading into those overnight hours, low 70s. Yeah, it's still a little bit of a struggle to kind of cool down in those overnight hours. For the coastline, we're going back there again. We have the heat advisory that's in effect through tomorrow night. Temperatures there, as I was showing you, they do have the potential to be from the mid 80s. That's mainly closer to downtown. If you're heading to the coastline, we're trending closer to those upper 70s as I showed you. Now, as you get into the inland valleys, the mountain communities, mid 90s to 105 today through tomorrow. And then for the desert region, again, like I mentioned, this is where that extreme heat warning has been extended through Monday night at 8 o'clock. Temperatures there ranging from 115 to 120. So what is the heat risk as we go into your Saturday? Mainly at the coastline, we're in that minor category. So we're looking at temperatures from the 70s and 80s. You still want to take those precautions, which I'll show you again in just a minute. But as you head over the inland valleys, we start to upgrade to that moderate category. Everything here in orange. We even have a few pockets where we're red, which indicates major. As we get into the higher elevations, we're in that moderate to major category. And now we're seeing more areas across the desert region compared to yesterday that are getting into the extreme category. And that means you just really have to pay attention to how the heat is affecting you and just limit your time outside. You don't want to be outside in the heat, especially over the deserts. 115 to 120 is just too hot. Heat safety tips for you. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Make sure the pets have fresh water and shade. And like I said, just take those breaks in the shade and air-conditioned rooms. And to avoid the heat, really staying out of it between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. is your best bet. But because it's getting warmer earlier, you might want to increase that from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. just to be on the safer side, especially if you are really sensitive. Last one here, very important, never leave children or pets in a vehicle. 10-day forecast looks like this. So you can see we're pretty consistent through the start of next week for the coast. We're going to have max daytime highs mainly over the downtown region from those low 80s. And the inland valleys, they back off a little bit Monday, Tuesday. We see that more on Wednesday. But we're ranging from about the upper 80s to the low 90s for peak daytime highs. Next weekend doesn't look as warm, especially by Sunday. For the mountain communities, we see that same pattern for us. Not a whole lot changes for the first half of the week, but then as we get closer to the weekend, maybe just cooling down by a few degrees. Desert region, you're going to be right around 115 to 120 through Monday. And then once we get into Tuesday, we start to cool down a little bit more. And I do want to mention that we have the dry conditions. It's sunny skies, but there is still that very slight chance of monsoonal moisture, mainly over the higher elevations. Not seeing a lot of that getting picked up over the mountains for today, but I just want you to be aware of it in case something it does pick up as we get into your Saturday. Have a great day.
Don't forget your umbrella.